We must stop them. This is the last stand, our last stand, to keep New Jersey.
It's time for us to take our seeds back.
Yes. Yeah.
We demand a moratorium now.
Yeah.
I'm just a mom from Ocean City. I am not an activist. I'm not a political anything. I want you to please be patient and gracious with me. I am not a political speaker. I am not a political anything. I'm not an activist of any kind. I'm just a mom who cares about my beach, my environment, my ocean, and my community. Protect Our Coast is an independent, nonpartisan, grassroots group established by ordinary citizens who are extremely concerned with every aspect of Governor Murphy's offshore wind plans. We are all volunteers and we have no corporate donors of any kind. We do support clean, renewable energy if it really is clean, but we know that offshore wind is not. Thousands of people joined our fight when Governor Murphy took away our rights by removing home rule, which I personally contend is not only a disgusting abuse of power and an abuse of the people of New Jersey, but is un-American. We know this is not safe, affordable, financially sound, environmentally friendly, although some would have us believe that it is. Protect Our Coast NJ and our nearly 500,000 supporters and potential voters, like all of you, have drawn a line in the sand.
Absolutely.
And we are saying no. No to ignoring the will of the people of New Jersey. No to trampling all over our Endangered Species Act. No to any more geophysical and geotechnical seafloor mapping and testing. No to the industrialization of our ocean coastline. No more issuing incidental harassment and take permits. No more placing gigantic lubricant, gas, and rare earth mineral-filled wind turbines and substations over 1,000 feet tall in the migratory path of our birds and marine species, as well as the butterflies, all of which contribute to our healthy environment.
Absolutely.
We say no to polluting our oceans. No more fast-tracking these thousands of experimental gigantic turbines and substations without thorough studies, including cumulative environmental and financial liability impact studies. No more deaths of our sea life, especially our endangered species like the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale, bald eagles, and others. No more damage to our fishing and seafood industries. No more big wind companies lying to us.
No!
No more. No turbine.
No more allowing foreign countries and companies to have control over our federal waters and our grid. No more government agencies like BOEM, NOAA, the New Jersey BPU, allowing the perceived rights of these foreign big wind companies to supersede the rights of New Jerseyans. No more governor-appointed boards, such as on the BPU, being allowed to overrule the elected officials of local cities and counties. No more putting our national security at risk.
Absolutely.
And most importantly, no more lying to the people of New Jersey. Offshore wind turbines are not beneficial for the fisheries and will put them in jeopardy, even though the wind industry has stated the opposite. Offshore wind developments are outpacing the speed of science and the needs of the sea. We have already given away nearly 3 million acres of our ocean, now being leased in many cases to foreign countries. We want it back. I'd like to read a quote that sums up offshore wind. It comes from BOEM, which stands for the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, and I quote, Overall, it is anticipated that there will be no collective impact on global warming as a result of offshore wind projects, including the proposed action alone, meaning Vineyard Wind, although they may beneficially contribute to a broader combination of actions to reduce impacts from climate change, end quote. In other words, it's not going to do anything to help with climate change, but since we're spending trillions of taxpayer dollars on this, maybe we should say that it might do something in the future. Maybe. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Not only do we say no, but we say hell no. Hell no.
Hell no! Hell no! Hell no!
Governor Murphy and President Biden, stop industrializing our oceans.
Stop!
Petition is to the President Joe Biden and New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy. We are the signers of this petition hereby call for the immediate halt of all offshore wind activity currently being undertaken along the New Jersey shore. We call on both the federal government and the state government of New Jersey to ensure a thorough, independent, transparent investigation of 30-plus total reported deaths of our whales and our dolphins. We ask these investigations be carried out by federal agencies with independent third-party scientific oversight. Massive, unprecedented experimental projects have been fast-tracked without meaningful public input and with impacted cities and towns denied their home rule. The proposed offshore wind farms could result in irreversible ecological damage to the marine environment, including the injury and death of thousands of marine species, as we are beginning to see, and as a result greatly diminish the quality of life in our coastal communities. These projects are projected to reduce shore residents' property values, curtail tourism, and severely affect the fishing, boating, and hospitality industries, while greatly increasing energy costs to New Jersey ratepayers. There are no tangible benefits to the people of the state of New Jersey. In addition, this activity is proceeding before the required environmental impact statements have even been finalized. This goes directly against both federal and state governments' responsibilities to protect the precious, unique, and delicate ocean environment that is beloved and appreciated by so many millions of people. It contradicts the primary goal of Executive Order 14008, which is to conserve our lands, waters, and biodiversity through clean energy technologies and infrastructure. Here we state there are many other strategies that can generate energy in a safe, more environmentally favorable way, so that New Jersey's greatest natural resource is not put at risk. Moreover, the people of the state deserve to know the quantified benefits and corresponding cumulative negative impacts of all of these projects, and to participate in any such decisions of this magnitude moving forward.
Transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The number of New Jersey voters who jumped on for this petition for the moratorium.
Yes.
485 now.
485,000 signatures, and we thank you deeply, legislators, as we pass the petition to you.
And we vote.
This is my Assemblyman Scharfenberger from NJ13.
Thank you.
He's been behind this from the beginning. Thank you. Since the fall, before any of the marine mammals started washing up. He understands the problems we have with this, and he's been on top of it. And he has a bill in front of the Assembly right now that we're all getting behind and pushing.
thank you, Mike, and thank you everyone for coming out here and supporting this. If you told us 6 months ago you'd be out here at the State House talking about dead whales and porpoises washing up, you'd say you were crazy. Right. But here we are, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on where we're at. I want to introduce my colleague from LD13, Assemblywoman Vicki Flynn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Assemblywoman Kim Ullner from LD11. Assemblywoman Antoine McClellan from LD. And Assemblyman Eric Simonson from LD1. I'm happy to say they've all signed on to our bill, and I want to thank everybody here because I know we're getting bombarded with emails asking all of the legislators to sign on to our bill. Wonderful. If we do that, if we can get every legislator in the Assembly to sign on to that bill, there's nothing the governor can do to ignore that sort of mandate from the legislature.
Thank you.
The good news is we have about 20 co-signs so far, co-sponsors, which is great. We have 60 more to go. Keep those emails coming in. Call your legislators. Explain to them how important this is. Every day. Our position is reasonable. We're not saying it is or it isn't. We're saying stop everything until we find out what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable position to take. And nobody can argue with that. Listen, we're all in favor of alternative energy, but not alternative energy at any cost. What we're asking is reasonable and necessary. Our tourism, our economy, the commercial and recreational fishing industries all depend on this. We're the stewards of the environment. We owe it to protect the marine life, and we owe it to protect the beautiful Jersey Shore. So with that, I want everybody please to keep up the pressure. It's working. It's getting attention. I see the fear in their eyes.
Just so you know, we're Legislative District 1, so we have the ocean on one side and the bay on the other. So I've been involved in this for over a decade, and anytime that you puncture our ocean floor, put 4 acres of rock around the bottom of it and run cables in the shore, it's not good for anybody. This whole thing has been a money grab. It doesn't produce enough energy.
Follow the money.
And it's also, for those that didn't know, when all these turbines are non-recyclable. So where they get green energy from, I do not know. I think it's just about greenbacks. That's money in the pocket.
It's time for us to take our seas back. We're tired of all those selective environmentalists that claim that tree frogs are horrible so we can't build roads, but when whales and porpoises die, they don't care. So, and then the convenient truth is they're doing sonar testing. And what happens when you do sonar testing? They're going to run and go up to the beach. But they're not saying they're not digging. Or correct, they're not digging, but they're doing sonar testing. So you're scaring the animals. So let the convenient truth.
They're not being honest.
Dictate how this is going to go. We need to stand up for our coast. We need to stand up for our communities. To stand up for our rights. So let's continue to fight. Let's continue fight for our Jersey Shores. Let us kill our tourism, kill our animals, and kill our lifestyle. Heck no. Let's continue.
Thank all of our New Jersey legislators that are hearing us. They're listening. They're taking our calls. They're coming to our meetings and they're saying, you know what, you're right. And they're fighting for us. So we really appreciate all these legislators being here and working so hard. Now, on that same vein, I'd like to introduce Point Pleasant Mayor. Paul Kenitra.
Where's our mayor?
There he is.
All the facts have been laid out bare for everybody. You already know them. You're here because you're passionate about this issue. And the numbers are what really matter. When you look at the petition, 500,000 people. To put that in perspective, there's only about 6 million active voters in all of New Jersey. That's about a tenth of the voting population. So what it comes down to is, how do we actually get action here? We've been here, we've been yelling, we've been screaming, we've been letting our voices be heard, the momentum is growing, but Murphy still has his head in the sand, right?
Yeah.
And the reason he does is because he doesn't have another election to run on, right? He's going to run for president at some point. He's going to say, I was a champion of green energy. He's going to get a ton of dollars from all the energy corporations for doing that. He doesn't care. But all these guys behind me, they're up for election this year. They're up for election in June. They're up for election in November. So the way that we actually get a change here is you have to hold every single person accountable. They have to put their money where their mouths are right now. If you don't know where your mayor in your town stands and they haven't signed on to that petition, vote them out. It's that. The Scharfenberger bill. It's very simple. They did away with home rule in the middle of the night. I called up Senate President Sweeney at the time and said, "What the heck are you doing?" And he said to me, "Don't worry, the cable's not going to go through Point Pleasant Beach." And I said, "That's not what matters. It's going to go through somewhere else." They have the ability to stop this, but they need more co-sponsors on their legislation. They need more people stepping up. So there's a primary election in June. You need to know where every single one of your councilmen and women, your mayors, your county commissioners, your state assembly people, governor, and even your congressmen, where they all stand on it. And if they're not with us, you have to vote them out. You have to make it.
Yes!
And that's how we're going to get it done. Okay?
Yes!
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Trisha DeVoe. I have a master's in conservation biology from Columbia University, and I am a naturalist for Miss Belmar Whale Watching. So yes, my job is to go whale watching. How great is that? I have the best job in the world. I get to take people out on a boat, share my knowledge about whales with them, and I get to share in the joy and wonder that they experience when they see a humpback whale in the wild. The 2022 whale watching season was our best season yet. We saw whales on every trip, sometimes 3 to 4 whales on a time. And the whales were healthy and active. Things were just really looking great for our humpback whale populations. And then suddenly in December, whales started washing up dead on our beaches. We had 16 whales in 4 months' time in the New Jersey and New York area, and we also had 19 dolphins and 2 harbor porpoises that stranded. The most recent, a beautiful baby harbor porpoise, found dead on the beach just 2 days ago. Now these deaths are devastating, and they're cause for great concern. Now, I know you're all concerned, that's why you're here, but what about your friends who maybe don't care about whales, or our legislators? Why should they be concerned about the whales dying? Well, the fact is, anyone concerned about climate change and the air that we breathe should be concerned about this large number of whales dying. This is because whales are our greatest weapon in our fight against climate change. Whales are known as carbon sinks, and what this means is whales accumulate carbon in their massive bodies, and they store it there during their long lifespan. Oh, sorry, my hands are frozen. So they store this carbon in their bodies over their life, and when they die, they sink to the bottom of the ocean, and they take that carbon with them. Each great whale takes an average of 33 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere and keeps it out of the atmosphere for centuries. But when whales are alive, they actually play an even bigger role in helping our atmosphere. Basically by eating and pooping in our oceans. Now, I know it may sound gross to some of you, but whale feces is actually very important because it fertilizes the ocean and produces phytoplankton blooms. Phytoplankton is extremely important because it produces 50% of our oxygen and captures approximately 40% of all the CO2 produced in the entire world. So this is the equivalent of 1.7 trillion trees or 4 Amazon rainforests. So whales play a very vital role in reducing greenhouse gas levels and providing us with clean air to breathe. So we need whales for survival, and the whales are in danger right now. We had 12 dead whales in New Jersey in just 3 months' time, which is nearly twice the average for an entire year. and those are just the whales that wash ashore. These whales manage to avoid vessel strikes all summer long, so why now? Why in the winter, when we have less whales and less vessel traffic, do we have more whales getting struck by vessels and dying? It doesn't make sense. What is different in our oceans now? Well, one thing that we know is there are currently 12 incidental harassment authorizations, or IHAs, to numerous companies conducting offshore wind survey. Now, these IHAs are permits to harm or harass marine mammals by interfering. They're permits to harm or harass, interfering with their migration, breathing, breeding, nursing, feeding, and sheltering. All very vital to survival, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Now, the total number of marine mammals allowed to be harassed is a staggering 75,924. And there are 5 more pending permits to harass more than 100,000 more marine mammals. The current permits, except for one, are level B permits, which allow for the disturbance of their behavior, but not to the point of causing injury. But we all know that we're seeing a lot of injuries to marine mammals. So is it possible that the permitted disturbance is causing injuries to the marine mammals and contributing to their deaths? When we ask this question, the response is always, and I quote, and I'm sure you can all quote with me, there is no evidence linking offshore wind surveying activity to the whale deaths.
Yes.
We've all heard that.
Yes.
But you cannot find evidence if you don't look for it.
That's right.
Are there studies being conducted to determine the impact of the surveying activity on our marine mammals? And if so, who is conducting them? There are many unanswered questions, and we need to demand an immediate, independent, and transparent investigation into what is causing these deaths. We all know something is very wrong. Our whales are dying at an alarming rate, and we need to find out what is causing this and stop it now.
Yes.
Friends, whales do so much for us by providing us with healthy oceans, clean air to breathe, and the joy of seeing them in the ocean. It's now time for us to give back to the whales. We need to be a voice on land for our friends at sea. We need to be whale warriors and fight for them.
Yes.
This petition is a great start, but it's just the beginning of our fight. We need you to continue to speak out, get involved, demand answers, and work together to save our whales.
As we all know, facts matter in this debate, and the facts are on our side. And some of the things we keep hearing are just not factual at all. So, in 2013, BOEM issued its first lease for a wind farm up here off the coast of Rhode Island. It's a Block Island wind farm. It's small. It's 5 turbines in those waters. That was surveyed and constructed in 2014 and 15. It became operational at the end of 2016. And the dates matter because we keep hearing the whale deaths predate any kind of activity that's going on in the ocean. And that's just not factual. And they continue to say it, and they get cute with the wording like, well, in this region it hasn't happened before. But they've been surveying, and it coincides precisely with the unusual mortality event NOAA is monitoring since the mid-2015-16 period, all the way up until now. We haven't seen whales dying down here until they started surveying down here. So that's the point of that.
We are representing over 4,000 concerned citizens in Brigantine, New Jersey, and along the South Jersey coast. We also believe in responsible development of alternative clean energy, but the development of these huge industrial wind farms starting just 9 miles off of our coast in Brigantine.
You'll see them.
Being both the tallest and the closest, most visible project in the world.
Unbelievable.
Is rushed, reckless, and dangerous on many fronts. Our organization, only 3 months old, was formed for, among other things, to make people of New Jersey aware of the unilateral actions that your state and federal government, in concert with these multi-billion-dollar wind and energy firms, are taking to install hundreds of massive industrial turbines off of our beautiful beaches. And for those of you that aren't aware, we are in lockstep with Save LBI and Protect Our Coast in forming a joint coalition of concerned citizens up and down the New Jersey shore. As I was taught in elementary school, and perhaps you were too, we are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Someone in this building has forgotten about that.
Took it away our voice.
We strongly believe that this entire offshore wind project should, at a minimum, be on hold indefinitely until judicial mechanisms of basic democratic process to include public, state, and federal hearings, discussions, and the appropriate cost and risk analyses can be applied to determine if this wind farm project possesses any merit whatsoever. And I will say it again, we believe the New Jersey state and federal government have thus far shown total contempt for the citizens of New Jersey on this issue.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Finally, let us talk about the whales. They have awakened us to the potential significant harm and weaknesses of this mega wind farm program, both above and below the ocean surface. As far as we know, there has not yet been a completely independent and comprehensive post-mortem medical examination of any of the dozens of whales and dolphins that have unfortunately died in the past few months. Their lifeless carcasses have landed on our beaches from New York to Maryland, unprecedented in our lifetime. Nonetheless, the offshore wind projects and mapping of the ocean floor continues unabated. Yet your federal government has condoned the disturbance and harassment of these creatures. Yet they say no evidence of offshore activities harming or killing these beautiful animals. And why? As Tricia mentioned, because they're not looking for the evidence.
They're not looking at all.
They're blinded by the money.
My name is David Shanker, and I've actually been in the water and swam with humpback whales. When I was a kid growing up at the Jersey Shore, I thought I was going to be the next Jacques Cousteau. I went to college as a marine biology major, and the best sales job I ever did was I convinced my father to let me do a semester at sea as a sophomore at college, and it was during that 4-month experience doing research on humpback whales I got to get in the water with them with masked fins and snorkel. I got to tell you, I don't have the words to describe what it's like being next to those creatures. So today I'm here representing an organization called Save the Right Whales. We're an alliance of grassroots environmental and community organizations and scientists and conservationists working to protect the critically endangered North Atlantic right whale. We're committed to educating all of you, the public, especially public leaders, on the harms of offshore wind, on our ocean life, and for those who work and live and visit our coastal communities. I've spent over 50 years of my life summering on Long Beach Island. And in all those years, every single year I've been there, I've seen nothing threaten our marine mammals, our birds, our commercial fishermen, our recreational fishermen, our national security, our environment, and the beauty of our oceans as I'm seeing today. It's just amazing what is happening. It's amazing that we're turning our coastline over to these global conglomerates, while at the same time helping them maximize profits, all at the expense of our marine mammals and our way of life in New Jersey and living at the shore. These plans to industrialize our oceans make no sense. They make no sense at all. And I stand here today representing all of you and everyone in New Jersey who cares, asking Governor Murphy to just stop this. Just stop this once and for all, and pause and give our marine mammals a break. Let them take a breath and understand what's happening. I'm standing here asking the New Jersey State Legislature pass AR 181. If we do that, it will create an immediate moratorium on all of the testing that's going on in our oceans, and that it will help us really try to understand the unexplained deaths of these great, great creatures that we all love. Thank you very much.
So we, the members of Protect Our Coast NJ, which currently number over 17,000 members, are concerned about biased and incomplete press coverage of the offshore wind projects and alarming number of whale and dolphin deaths. We feel that such one-sided coverage reporting can be irresponsible, misleading, and a disservice to the people of New Jersey. Here are several examples of how the ongoing story of the offshore wind projects may be being compromised by the press. Number one, inaccurate interpretations. When asked to comment on the cause of mammal deaths, the environmental and governmental groups invariably say some version of, and you've heard this before, quote, "We see no evidence of a connection between offshore wind activities and the deaths." Invariably, the next day, the news reports then report in the papers something like, environmental groups say that offshore wind activities are not to blame. That is not what the people said at all. Reporters and editors should know that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
There you go.
We therefore would ask the press to follow up with logical questions like, what evidence could there be that would point you to a connection? Maybe a turbine blade stuck in a whale's heart? Would that convince you maybe? Number two, failure to investigate. Many of the pro-offshore wind quotes and positions come from groups or agencies that have accepted money and gifts from the offshore wind companies.
Bags of money.
Yet you would never know this from the news reports. Before informing the public of what could be, and are usually meant to be, very influential statements, shouldn't the sources be investigated to make sure that they have not been compromised?
Damn.
Doesn't this cry out for an investigative report?
Yes.
Number three, conspiracy assumptions. Many times, our group and others like it are labeled as being far right or funded by big oil. None of which is true. These assertions are being made not only by the pro-offshore wind groups, but by the governor himself, which we find egregious. Number four, acceptance of throwaway explanations. If a man were found dead on Route 95 and the police declared that the reason for his death was only that he was, quote, struck by a car, the press would be asking all kinds of questions about how the man got there and why. Yet the same press, when NOAA or other organizations declare that a whale's death was, quote, likely due to a ship strike, never bother to ask what may have caused the whale to be in the way of the ship in the first place. Such explanations are weak, one-size-fits-all excuses, along with the well-known ocean warming, that are deliberately designed to sound official, yet hide the fact that they just don't know, or in fact may not be looking. Indeed, there are many other locations with much greater ship traffic where whales aren't dying, and healthy sea mammals rarely get struck by ships anyway. In point of fact, since 2016, NOAA has been issuing permits for the offshore wind to harass or injure the marine mammals anyway, including the critically endangered whales, dolphins, and sea turtles. So by reporting these statements without digging deeper, the press is unknowingly or knowingly complicit in this deception. Lastly, not challenging official statements. The press dutifully reprints the government's press releases, but never questions them or follows up. The governor says things like, offshore wind is needed to create jobs, make New Jersey more resilient to climate change, and boost our economy.
It's going to kill tourism.
Infuriatingly to us, though, no reporter has ever pressed the governor for explanations or details on these claims, or even to find out if they're true. This can be incredibly frustrating and misleading, so we would like the news organizations to step up and interpret exactly what the government is saying or not saying.
Absolutely.